Hi, and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to take a closer look at two of Excel's most powerful lookup functions, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. These functions are incredibly useful because they allow us to transfer large amounts of data based on a specified criterion. In fact, VLOOKUP is one of the most important functions in Excel due to its versatility in data lookup tasks. Let's dive into a practical example to see how these functions work. In this worksheet, we have two tables. On the left, we have the same table we worked with before. And on the right, we have a new table, which is quite similar but only includes some of the teams. This table is currently empty, and our goal is to fill it by pulling corresponding data from the table on the left. This is where VLOOKUP comes in handy. We can find the VLOOKUP formula from the formula bar. Click on this button here and a dialog box opens up. Now search for the VLOOKUP formula and click OK. Now, let's go over the four key arguments of the VLOOKUP function. First, we have the lookup value, which is the value we are trying to find in the table. For instance, in this case, the lookup values are Lazio and Denny from cells I4 and I5. Next is the table array, which is the range of cells where we will search for the lookup value. This is our source table, located in cells B4 to F12. Then, we have the column index number, which tells us which column's data to return once a match is found. Finally, there's range lookup, which specifies whether we want an exact match, false, or an approximate match, true. For our case, we want an exact match, so we'll use false. Now, let's apply this to our example. In the table on the right, we have Lazio and Denny listed. We want to pull corresponding information from the source table on the left. First, we type equals VLOOKUP. Then, we select I4, which contains the name Lazio as the lookup value, and then choose the source table range from B4 to F12. Notice that Lazio is in the first column of the source table, which is exactly what we need. The third argument is 2, because we want to pull the data from the second column, which is the country. And for the fourth argument, we choose false because we need an exact match. When we press Enter, Excel looks up Lazio in the first column of the source table and returns England from the second column, as expected. Next, we copy the formula and paste it down in the cell for Denny, and we get America, which is also correct. Now we need to fix the table references to avoid any errors when copying the formula to other cells. When we copy the formula to the next cell, we encounter an error because the lookup value shifted positions. To prevent this, we need to lock the column reference by adding a $sign in front of the column letter, which will keep the reference fixed as we drag the formula down. Once we make this adjustment, the result is correct. Next, we need to adjust the column index number for other fields, like the Champions League column. By changing the column index number to 3, we get the expected result. No for Lazio, as they didn't participate in the Champions League. Once we have the formula set up, we can copy it across the rest of the table, making sure to adjust the column index number for each new data extraction. Now, let's move on to the HLOOKUP function. HLOOKUP is very similar to VLOOKUP, but instead of searching by columns, it searches by rows. This makes HLOOKUP ideal when your data is organized horizontally rather than vertically. In this example, we'll use the HLOOKUP function to look up data from a table that's laid out differently. Again, we have the same two tables, one on the left and one on the right. The setup is similar, but this time, our lookup values are found in the first row of the source table, and we want to extract data from the rows below. Let's type equals HLOOKUP, and for the lookup value, we select Melina from cell J5. We need to lock the column reference for the lookup value by adding a $sign before the column letter. Next, we select the source table and specify the row from which to extract data. Since we're looking for the country, which is in the second row, we select row 2 as the third argument. Finally, we choose false for the range lookup to ensure an exact match. When we press enter, the formula returns Italy, which is correct. Now, we can copy the formula across the rest of the table, and the only thing we need to change is the row number from which we want to extract data, ensuring the function pulls the correct information for each row. We have to change row number manually, but in the advanced VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP classes, I will teach you some tricks to do it in one go. That's a quick rundown of how VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP work in Excel. Both of these functions are incredibly useful when working with large datasets, allowing you to quickly and efficiently transfer data from one place to another based on certain criteria. Thanks for watching, and I hope this lesson was helpful.